Hey everybody. I think we're just about a minute early, almost right on top of the hour. We'll give it just a minute or so. I'm waiting for a few things over here in the Twitch universe to update for me, anyways. But all right, there we go. It is 8 o'clock. We got one viewer that I can see. This is just so everybody knows. If you're coming to Cologne because you thought this was Geek Together, this is not. We got one guy from the STS and then three of the brothers Newland, all three of us. This is this is the collector showcase. I know we've been going back and forth on names, but we've settled on a collector showcase because we're not necessarily just doing toys. So we're doing a collector showcase by the Toy Rewind. Me, John, and Michael there, and we've got Nate on tonight because we're going to talk about some toy photography. So we're going to have a fun night. I don't know if we're all prepared for it. We're just going to kind of have a conversation here. And that's how these Monday nights will go. We're going to have somebody special on to talk about their collection and see what they've got and just kind of go from there. I know Michael down there looks like he's a huge collector. John's got a few things behind him, but and Nate's got stuff behind him. But I'm in an interesting place because I'm in Texas. So I'm completely relocated. So just ignore my messy background that I've got here. And hopefully in the next few weeks, I'll be back into a normal location. So, all right. Now that our viewership has gone up to 6 and then immediately dropped back down to 4 because we had 2 people that decided they didn't want to watch us.
Hey, Ed, how are you?
I just got the notification.
I just got the notification also. Let's see. So, yeah, STS here. looks like Damien from Geek Together is around. Ed's here. So, yeah, we'll see how tonight goes. And hopefully, kind of as we talked about on the podcast that we recorded last night with Nate and the other STS guys, hopefully we're not canceled after night. So fingers crossed that this all works out and goes well. There's Mountain Meg. One thing before we get started on our collection showcase talking about Nate and all his stuff, I do want to throw out a huge congratulations to Mountain Meg up there in Colorado for getting the Funko Fanatic of the Month. Like, huge awesome thing. Yeah. I know a few years ago I got Fanatic of the Week. They sent me some cool stuff and it was great. But yeah, huge congratulations to Meg for that. Definitely worth it, or definitely deserved and amazing. So congratulations. All right. I guess with that, we will sorry, I'm looking at all the cool stuff that I got since I'm in control of the Geek Together world.
Like all these new toys.
Yeah, so much stuff. We're gonna have to talk about a few things, like maybe getting a collector showcase emote. Is that what? Yeah, it's an emote. We got to get an emote. We got to get Damien. We got to talk. So, all right, then let's
I see Larry on. Hi, Larry. Hey, it's Larry.
Oh, hey, yeah. There's
hey.
So here's what I'll ask, John, Michael. If you guys see something in the chat that you want to bring up, just let me know. Okay. Like I said, I got a lot of stuff going on, so. If you see something, we can do it. Yes, Damien, give me an emote. So, all right, we're just gonna dive in. So we brought Nate on as our first guest to the Collector Showcase because if you're here and you don't know, Nate is a huge collector. He's got a lot of great figures. What is it, Mezco, and what's the other ones that?
NECA.
NECA, that's what it is.
Those are kind of the 2 primary ones that I collect.
Yeah, I heard that word last night, and I was like, oh, I got to remember. And then I didn't write it down, and then obviously I forgot. So he's a huge collector of those things and does toy photography, which I've seen. You probably saw I went through your Instagram and liked a whole bunch of stuff today because I was pulling photos and getting stuff ready. And, like, I'm just amazed at what you do with these things. So I just want to talk about it, kind of just have a little conversation about it and kind of see where it goes. So we'll start with just the question of how you got started in collecting, and what drew you to kind of doing that stuff.
Yeah, first of all, I just want to say a big thanks to you guys for having me on for your first collector showcase. I'm honored to be a part of it. Hopefully I don't disappoint you, but yeah, I mean, I'm really thankful to be here. So thank you. As far as how I got started collecting, I've been collecting figures since I was a little kid. It's always been something that's been a part of my life. I got started early on with TMNT. That was kind of like the first figures I remember having is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That was like really my first love, actually. Even though I'm a huge Batman fan, TMNT is sort of what started my passion for like, cartoons and the pop culture and action figures and just getting into all that stuff. And then I kind of slowly discovered other cartoons through that, Batman the Animated Series, X-Men, Spider-Man. So that kind of started my love for comics, and just getting into all that. And so over the years, I've always kind of collected figures, the 3.75 inch stuff. Actually, you can kind of see some of them back there. Toy Biz Batman, Kenner Batman, the Dark Knight collection. That was primarily a lot of what I collected. And then the Playmates Turtles, which was the original Turtles line, from 1988. So that was a lot of like what really started my passion for toys. And so over the years, I've been collecting for a long time. I was a mint on card collector, meaning that I didn't open it up. I kept it mint in box. I was crazy about the packaging and, just having the pristine vintage collection stuff. Cause a lot of what I collected was like vintage. I went through like a period. I was like the cool guy period in high school and college. I'm like, I don't collect toys anymore. And then I realized I didn't care about being cool, and the real passion was the toys, and collecting and all that. So I got more into it as I got older. And I started discovering a lot of people through Instagram. There's a huge community of people that collect figures and then also take pictures of them. So a couple of the first people I found were JC Malone. His name's Joe. He's one of the first guys I discovered on Instagram. D Amazing, who's actually a toy reviewer. He was another guy I started kind of discovering doing toy photography. And I was like, wow, these are actually people posing figures and then taking shots of them. And it looks almost cinematic. It blew me away, that people actually did that. So I started discovering like, okay, this is something that I'm a little interested in. I just didn't know anything about photography. I had no idea where to start. I had no background in photography. So that's actually a big part of my learning is figuring out, okay, how do I actually properly shoot stuff? But it made me want to start opening my figures. I started opening a lot of the stuff that I had in collection and just realizing like, free the figs. They don't need to be in their plastic prisons. It actually gave me more appreciation for figures. It's a way as an adult, even though I'm an older man, that's my way of quote unquote playing with the figures, is that I get to open them up, pose them around, take shots of them. It really gives me a lot more appreciation for what I collect. And so now pretty much everything that I buy, I open up. But yeah, I started doing I don't know how deep you want me to go, but that's kind of how I got started with collecting.
Well, I would say so for me, I collect a lot of Funko, and there was one figure specifically that made me start opening my boxes and looking at them. And that was 11 from Stranger Things. So
nice.
One of the figures, she's got her tattoo on the back of her arm, and you can't see it unless you open it. So I opened it up and I took a look at that, and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I missing in all these other figures that never get opened? So yeah, I can see though you playing with them that way and setting them up. And I mean, that's the way we used to play with them when we were kids, have your little battle. You're just doing it in one small spot, taking a picture of it. And I love the way that you post the stuff on Instagram, because I always see that first shot is like the finished product of what you've got. And then a lot of times you'll show like a background or behind the scenes kind of shot. And then sometimes your videos, which are just awesome to see, like how you set things up. And I know you've got some figures behind you, and I see your video consoles up above you too there. But I mean, how many different like settings do you have, like buildings and different things like that? Because it looks like you've got a lot.
Yeah, that's actually a big part of it too. So even though the figures are obviously this focal point of the shots, you really got to make sure that you're building out the backgrounds, and that's what becomes a struggle at times. And that took me a long time to learn how to do that properly. I started doing shots on my cell phone, and I would put like a black piece of cardboard and just shoot the figure in front of that. That's what I did for a long time, because that's all I really knew how to do. But I started collecting props almost as much as I started collecting figures, because you start realizing like I can build out these scenes a little bit more. You can see up here, right there, I've got a Bat Cave from DC Collectibles. So that's one set that I have. Right above me here is it's a NECA street dio. So NECA actually, these companies start catering to these toy photographers. And one of the things they made was like a dio. And so that's actually like a street, and it's 2 different sections, and it's modular. So you can take pieces out of it. You can kind of like prop up like an alley or something. You can kind of use all your imagination. And then there's this company called Extreme Sets, and Extreme Sets specializes in like cardboard backgrounds. So they do a bunch of different scenes, like an alleyway or an asylum or like a bar or you name it. And they make like cardboard cutouts that you can kind of piece together. So I kind of use a mix of a bunch of different things, a combination of the dio and the bat cave, depending on the shot that I'm trying to do. And then within that, I'm building out and putting, props in the scene to kind of flesh it out and add some more detail.
I know.
But yeah.
We were looking at some of them, all the little props sitting around and everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, he's got this, he's got that. There's so many little different ones. So
I know we talked a little bit before we started, but your collection is a lot of TMNT and Batman and like the DC universe and a little bit of Marvel, right?
Yeah. A little bit of Marvel. I got to represent for Marvel a little bit.
A little bit. I mean, hey, they've got a huge universe. We'll give them a little bit. Of, they get the movies right. We do the photos for DC right. I mean, that's how it works. We do have some photos we're going to look at of a lot of different shots that you've got. And then I just figured we could dive in on these and kind of just talk about, where you came up with the idea for each one of these. If you had, I do know, and forgive me, I know that you actually won a contest with Mezco not too long ago and got a special figure. And I was trying to figure out which one that was, and I don't even know if I pulled the right one. So I can
help you out.
We're not going to necessarily look at that one, at least in some of these photos, but we are going to look at some of these and kind of get an idea about them. So obviously the first ones that I would pull would be Batman and Turtles, because these two, you can't go wrong with these two.
Yeah,
so,
you're a fellow Batman Turtle fan. I appreciate that about you. That's just that's automatic respect right there.
Right. Right.
But yeah, these are the Batman versus TMNT figures that were actually made for the animated movie. I don't know if you guys saw that movie, but it's actually pretty good. It's a new DC animated film where they mashed the 2 worlds together, and they made special figures DC directed for them. And for a while I didn't pick them up, but at some point GameStop did this huge sale on them. So I ended up grabbing the set, and I wanted to recreate a shot from the show. And there's a scene in the movie where Mikey steals a bat suit from Batman and puts it on and then starts eating pizza in it. And Batman's kind of giving him a score and like, you better not get grease on that thing, or take it seriously. So I kind of wanted to recreate that a little bit here. You can see Mikey, he's eating his pizza, he's having a great time, and Batman's just not having any fun.
Yeah, not at all. And this was this in the Batcave that you were just talking about earlier?
This is actually with a NECA dio. So in this dio, that's a part of me, it's 2 different pieces. So you can take the top part off and set it on the other side of the bottom part. So you create like an alleyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I sort of created an alleyway, and then the background is actually an Extreme Sets. So that's just a cardboard cutout. And if you put it far enough back, that's one of the things. You don't want your backgrounds too close because then you can see it a little too well. You want to create a little bit of depth between your figures and the background, so you can at least tell what's going on back there, but you can't really exactly tell what it is. You just know that there's a background. So yeah, this is a kind of a combination of 2 different things to create that scene.
Okay. And I know we talked, like I mentioned earlier, you and the STS guys were on with us as we recorded this week's podcast of the Toy Rewind, and we talked about G.I. Joe, the 12-inch figures and all their articulation that they came with. And it looks like, this one, you can look at these, and if you know toys, you can obviously see a lot of the articulation, but the detail that they're built in, it does help hide things. Like I can't do his feet move in this one, Michelangelo's feet move, but it just looks like, turtle skin roll. You know,
Right.
I don't know what else to call that. So we'll just call it turtle skin roll.
I think that's accurate.
So I mean, it helps it because like I know you can move all that, and it helps out, and putting them in different poses. But it's just awesome. This is another one of my favorites. Obviously, the turtles, but then also this game machine that you've got with it, which I have. As soon as I saw this, I was like, "That is classic. That is the image from the side of the original."
Yeah,
So
it is.
I love that. Like the detail is just amazing. So
yeah, shout out to my buddy. His name is @prime2the1st. I'll put it in our chat.
yeah,
He is actually a good friend of mine that has he's basically kind of built his own store on Instagram, and now he has a website. It's prime-arcade.com, and he makes these arcades in 1/12 scale and just crazy detail. I mean, they're made out of a balsa wood. That's how you make the frame. I actually have one here. This is the Turtles in Time arcade. But yeah, he cuts these out of balsa wood, and then he, prints out the graphics, and then he's got little like push pins for the buttons and stuff. I mean, it's crazy. And I remember playing both of these arcades in the arcades when I was a little kid. So seeing that in hand and seeing it in the scale, you're just like, wow, this is like my childhood in my hand here. So I had to do a shot with the turtles playing their own game. It was one of those shots that immediately came to me when I got that cabinet.
Sorry, Nate, this is covering your face up, but Ed did say, seeing these strange, he wants to watch the Batman Ninja Turtle movie now. Ed, don't worry. That's, I'm all, if it's Batman, I'm good to watch it. I don't really care what it is.
There's
Batman Turtles.
Also a question on what do you take your photos with? The DSLR or the phone?
Yeah.
Great question. And Ed, you should definitely check out that movie. It's awesome. If you like TMNT, if you like Batman, you will enjoy that movie. But yeah, so what do I take my photos with? So I actually started on a phone. I'm a big Android guy, so Samsung Notes is what I was using for a long time. They actually have pretty decent cameras. And then eventually I upgraded to a Nikon D3200. So that's a DSLR camera. And that was my first DSLR camera, and it taught me a ton. You definitely don't need high quality, expensive stuff. You don't need it. A lot of people think like, oh, I'm only going to get good if I buy the most expensive camera and the most expensive lighting. That's not true at all. You can do a lot with just basic desk lamps and in your phone. I just wanted to get better at it, so I decided to get a DSLR. But DSLR teaches you a lot about, how do you use aperture, how do you use ISO, how do you use the f-stop, all these things that create a picture in depth and controlling lighting. So I used that Nikon D3200 for probably a good 5 or 6 years. And then I've recently just upgraded to a Sony A7 Mark III, which is a really great mirrorless camera.
Okay. Awesome. So before we move on to the next photo, which is another one of your video game photos, I remember growing up, our mom, I almost said my mom, but our mom worked, and there was a pizza shop that had this game in it, just like in the same like shopping place where she worked. And I would always try to go and play as much as I possibly could. So
I love these games when I was a kid.
As soon as I saw this photo, I was like, "Oh, that is my childhood. That's amazing." So, all right,
I like to go back to the detail. You got the boom box sitting down there.
Oh yeah,
and, purple boom box.
The little rat. Yeah, I like all the little small details, and then the what you got on top of the game
ooze up at the top
there too. Yeah, the ooze
cartridge.
Yeah,
I appreciate you catching that, Michael.
Yeah.
I like this. You've got the pizza back here, and then it's obviously cut, and then Leonardo's got a piece in his hand.
Leonardo's got a piece.
They're not just buying pizza and letting it sit around; they're eating it too.
They're actually
when I was playing arcades, I always had some kind of food or soda in my hand.
Right.
Usually would spill it, and the guy would kill me. But All
right, let's move on to this one. This is a good one. I don't know what attracted me to this photo more. If it was the beer that Alfred has, the fact that Heath Ledger's Joker is coming out of the '89 Batman machine, or the gun that Batman has that looks like just a pistol. I assume it's a bat, one of his guns that he shoots off, but you know, so many things here. And then on the floor, you've also got the little thing going on there. Yeah, the case. So, I didn't even notice the batarang until I just looked at this little bigger.
Yeah, turn on top. Yeah.
And there's a DVD up there, DVD case at the top too.
Everything about this one is just amazing. So,
thank you so much.
I think it's saying that Batman had a little too much to drink right now and hallucinating or something.
Yeah, this isn't real.
It's
so funny. Go ahead.
Is he actually inside of the machine, or is this one where he's like in I don't know, cut in two pieces?
So this is actually that figure right here. So all I did was I popped his torso off.
Okay, that's what I was wondering if you had done. Yeah.
Yeah, you can pop him off just like that. I didn't have Jack Nicholson Joker figures are one of the most rare things in existence. He just doesn't let his likeness. He never sells his likeness to anyone. The only time I've seen a Jack Nicholson Joker figure was a Hot Toys, which is 12 inches. So I don't really collect that size. So I had to improvise here with Heath Ledger. And I had a Christian Bale Batman. So it's like, okay, that kind of goes together. Those two were in the same universe. But yeah, I popped his torso off to try to make it look like he's coming out of the game. And then Batman's had one too many. And he's starting to really freak out because I had that face from Batman. And I'm like, I just don't really like this face, but it works so well in this shot.
It did. It worked really well in this shot.
I don't even know why they would have made that face.
I know it's like he's grinning, but it looks like he's just disgusted with something.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, so go ahead.
I like how Batman just comes in. It doesn't even change into.
I mean,
he just plays video games in his bat suit.
Would you change, Michael? Would you change? I mean, I would just wear the bat suit as much as possible.
I would sleep in that thing for sure.
Yeah. I'm going to play Batman. I'm going to,
I mean, let's be honest. I would fight crime in Christian Bale's and maybe sleep in Adam West's Batman.
There you go.
Might be a little more comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like Bruce Wayne's his alter ego, so why not?
Yeah.
You know?
Right. So here we go. Here's another one that, I mean, this is obviously just another. You've got Bruce Wayne looking at all of his bat suits, and just looking at this, I think you turned the bat heads around, right?
I did.
Okay,
yep.
so that it looks like they're just blank little slates there. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't want a bunch of faces in there looking down at him because then it's like, okay, that's a little odd.
Yeah.
So I was like, how could I get around that? And luckily, their heads turn, so I just turned them all around so you can't see their faces.
So how do you stand these up? Do you use tack or anything on them to help them stand up and stay stood up?
So sometimes I use. I have a little piece of it here because I use it so much. It's blue tack. Just very easy, like small putty. It's sticky and it works amazing because you can just stick that on the bottom of their feet, stick it on something, and it stays stationary. It never moves. So I actually had to do that with that red Batman because one of his legs is a little bent. So I had to stick some blue tack down there, but I try to pose them just by themselves if I can, just so I don't have to use the blue tack. But yeah, most of these are just kind of standing on their own. And then I had that Bruce Wayne there, which I wanted to sort of make the focal point because I always loved that figure when I was a kid.
So Ed in the chat over here mentioned that he had that Bruce Wayne figure when he was a kid. And you could just put pieces of the batsuit over them. And
yeah, you can.
I think I remember that. Like, it sounds familiar. I don't know if we had this one, but it does sound familiar to me.
Yeah, I think he comes with a headpiece. He comes with a chest, boots, and gauntlets. So you can actually almost piece together a full Batman. It looks a little weird though because he's got the clothing and then you have all these chunky armor pieces over it.
It's like the armored Batman where his head's too small for the actual armor.
Exactly. Yes. But yeah, I like to use the older figures when I can. So that was kind of just trying to use all that older stuff. So
we're going to jump out of the Batman world for a few photos here. I didn't want to just look at Batman because I don't want to bore people like Michael does on our podcast. But so this one really stood out to me. Obviously, you got Snake Eyes here. You're doing a G.I. Joe thing going on. But what really stood out to me is he's in the air.
Right.
So I don't see anything holding him up. And I assume you do some Photoshop on some of these to take stuff like that out. But just the detail in this to be able to do that, how do you stand these up like this? What do you use to prop them up? And
let me grab one actually real quick.
Okay. That's right. Look at that. I'm just got I got Ed on
Snake
here.
Eyes.
Snake Eyes.
Yeah. So as far as editing, I try not to use really. I try to edit as least as possible. Trying to make it as natural as I can. But with stuff like that, I use these. They're flight stands. You can't see that very well.
Let me say
So guess that would be the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like right, exactly. Yeah, so it's like a weighted cable, and then you just bend it into shape, and you can make a flight stand out of it, and then you really just kind of like stick that into the back of their legs. You know, most figures have these holes back here, so you can just kind of put that back there, and then he sort of just sits up. So as long as you pose them, you can put this on the ground, and they're kind of just sitting up on that stand.
Yeah.
And then you use Photoshop, which if you use Lightroom on your phone, there's an app called Photoshop Lightroom. They have a tool called the healing brush. You can kind of just brush over the piece that you're trying to hide, and it will copy the background and copy it over that piece.
Okay.
So it actually.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say it takes like the closest little pixels that it can to cover that up and help hide it. So yeah.
It can take some time. It's a little annoying. There's better ways to do it. Some guys, what they'll do is they'll take a shot of a blank background and they'll use the full suite of Photoshop to really kind of paint in the same area so that it matches exactly. With the healing tool in Lightroom, you have to take a little bit more time. You really have to kind of be a little bit more meticulous with it. But eventually you can get it to a point where it looks like there's nothing there holding them up.
I mean, we can zoom in on this. Obviously, this is not, I mean, you know, you're going to see a little pixelation there. But yeah, I see. Yeah. I can't tell at all where that thing's at. So, you know,
it's probably actually right below that bottom foot.
So like right here?
It's kind of going, I try to hide the legs.
Hide it with the legs and.
Yeah, I try to get the legs behind it if I can. So I have to edit a little bit less. And then also like maybe put him in front of it a little bit so I can, you know, hide it that way. But I try to find ways to hide it so I can edit it less, because the more you edit, the more noticeable it becomes.
These action poses are some of my favorites that you do also, just because like it just shows what these, like this is directly out of a movie, you know. It looks like, you know, perfect. Like obviously this one with the G.I. Joe figures, you can see more of the articulation. It's not hidden as much, especially in like his kneecap here.
Right.
Yeah, you can kind of see it
like it's reversed.
Yeah, you know? Those G.I. Joe figures are really, I mean, for $20. Those figures are really, really good. They have crazy articulation, which is huge when you are, you know, trying to pose and you want to get like those DC Direct figures we were talking about earlier with Batman versus TMNT. Those are good, but they don't have nearly as much articulation as this Snake Eyes does. So I was really trying to show it off and get him into a pose that, you know, he's bending a lot and he's got all of the arms out, and just trying to show off that articulation as much as I could.
Definitely, you definitely got that one.
That's definitely pretty cool. I like that.
Peking was just talking over here in the chat. They've done it with taking two photos, just like you mentioned, taking the one without the toys and then kind of putting them together. So
yeah, that's the easier way of doing it. If I had the full suite of Photoshop on my computer, I'd probably use that. But you basically just take your shot with the figure, then you take another shot with them not in there, and then you basically just color over that part where the stand is, and it mimics the background of the shot that you took without anybody there.
Sorry, I had to move you to the top, Nate. I feel bad covering you up. Cover up the people that nobody cares about down here at the bottom. So, all right, let's. Back to Turtles. Obviously.
Oh man.
This came directly out of a movie. I mean, obviously, the original TMNT movie. So as they're fighting in the back, and this Casey Jones character, this is perfect. And having the trash can. Are these things are these like, do you get these from Mezco, or do you get a lot of things 3D printed, or how's that work?
So these figures are from NECA. NECA specializes in the turtle line. They've been making all the TMNT movie figures. So I actually had a really hard time finding this set. Sometimes it can be really difficult to get a hold of. But I finally found this. It's a 2-pack. It comes with Casey Jones and Raphael in his trench coat with a hat and a backpack. And as soon as I got the set, I was like, okay, I got to recreate that scene, the fight scene. I mean, that's the most iconic scene with these two characters together. So yeah, I used that trash can. Actually, if you collect wrestling figures, the WWE figures are amazing for accessories. they come with trash cans, they come with fences, they come with, stairs. I mean, you name it. WWE like literally has everything.
I believe this is the same rat that was hanging around.
It is.
Yeah.
I use that rat a lot in shots, actually.
and the background again, you got the half gallon of milk down on the ground there. That's pretty cool. Like you said, I don't know where do you find the little pieces like that?
It's over time. I mean, sometimes I'll buy figures specifically for the accessories that they come with. So I can't remember specifically where I got that milk carton. Also, if you go to Michael's or Hobby Lobby, if you go to their miniatures section, they actually have a ton of stuff for this scale. And I think that might be where I got that milk carton.
Cool. It looks like that paper I've seen in a couple of shots that I looked at.
So Larry's calling you out, telling you need to use Photopea.
Photopea, okay.
It's free. So make sure, we all listen to Larry as much as possible. So
Larry is a smart man.
He is.
It definitely, like, I don't like to spend money on apps like that. That's why I don't buy Photoshop. I'll use Lightroom because Lightroom's a free app. Or I use one called Spark Post, which is good. But yeah, there's a ton of great apps out there. I'm going to have to check out Photopea because I wasn't aware of that one.
So I have two questions, and I think one that everybody wants to know about. As when it comes to the little details and the little accessories, there's a specific line that she has so many accessories, it's pitiful. So I'm going to ask, have you ever bought a Barbie to get the accessories? And if you have, it's okay. We won't judge. Just curious.
So it's funny that you say that. My wife actually has a collection of older Barbies, and I have stolen a lot of accessories from them. So in a way, yes.
All right. Like I said, it's okay. Great toys, great stuff comes from different places.
Even with like clothing, you can get clothing from Barbies and put it on. I think I saw a lot of people buy like purple shorts for a Hulk figure one time, and it came from a Barbie.
She accessorizes well, so
she's great on accessories.
With this photo specifically, so the trench coat, everything that comes with this, is that trench coat plastic or is it fabric? Because it looks like it's going to act like fabric. And
it is fabric, yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty crazy what NECA is able to do with their figures. They really add a lot of detail. But yeah, that trench coat is specifically made for that figure.
That's amazing, just the detail that they go into it. Here's another this is another crossover. I thought this was great. Michael, you can cover your eyes.
Michael wouldn't know anything about this one.
Yeah, so you've got Leatherface and Jason and Pennywise and Mike Myers and Freddy and Chucky all down here playing with the Ouija board.
And doing tarot cards.
And tarot cards. Yeah, doing the tarot cards. So lots of stuff going on. Obviously, this just shows off the variety of like different lines that you have. This being a horror line or whatever. Also want to point out the White Rat is back in this one. He brought a couple friends. He brought a couple brown friends down here.
There's a brown one down there. Yeah.
So
that's funny.
A couple of them.
Like, where did you get the inspiration? Is this just a Halloween shot you thought you'd take, or
so I'm actually really happy you grabbed this one. Speaking of my wife, is really great in being supportive, she actually helped me set this up. So I want to do a Halloween shot, and she got me that miniature Ouija board and those tarot cards that she found from somebody on Etsy. And I was like, well, since you got me these, you got to help me put together something. So she set up the scene, posed the figures, and then I kind of just did the lighting and the photo. But yeah, this was kind of a collaboration with her just to celebrate Halloween. And all those figures are from NECA as well. That's kind of where they started, was in horror with NECA. A lot of their older stuff is horror, and then they've kind of expanded since then. But I have like a horror collection too.
By the way, this is the Pennywise that haunts my dreams. Not the new one, this one specifically.
Tim Curry Pennywise.
Yeah. Terrifying to me. I like I said, since you mentioned it, let's talk about the lighting and how you light these. What kind of lights do you use and everything? How do you do the sets up?
Yeah, so lighting has been something that's kind of evolved over time. But if you're interested in starting, you can literally buy a $5 desk lamp from Walmart, just one, a very cheap one. And I recommend daylight LED bulbs. So daylight bulbs, because a traditional fluorescent bulb has yellow lighting, and you don't want that for shots. You want a white bulb that doesn't change the color of clothing, because if you have like a yellow bulb, like a fluorescent bulb, you notice it has a yellow tinge on literally everything. So if you get these daylight bulbs, you can use white light, and white light is really good about bringing out natural color. So I use, for the longest time, and I still do in some of my shots, I use desk lamps with the daylight bulbs, and then I get multicolor LED bulbs as well to add in color. More recently, I've been getting into what are called lume cubes, and lume cubes are more professional lights. They're small, they're modular. I have one down on the floor, but I can't go. Here, let me see if I can get it.
While you're pulling that up, Larry did mention that all of his Barbies are naked.
Yeah,
All my Barbies are naked.
Yeah, so
he specializes in naked Barbies, Larry. He's got kind of a problem. He knows what I'm talking about, so I'm not giving him grief. But yeah, so what I was trying to grab are these things called lume cubes.
Okay.
And it's a little mini cube that has surprisingly very bright light.
wow. Yeah.
It's really, really bright. It's like 5,000 lumens or something like that in this tiny little thing. But they come with these little gel filters. So you can, like these little magnetic filters, you can just put it right over the lens like that, and it changes the color.
Mini stage lights.
Yeah.
But yeah, these are...
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the cool thing about it, because they are stage lights, is that you can prop them up really anywhere. You can put them on top of something. You can have, I think I've got one on the floor to the right of these guys to kind of light them on the sides. Because that's one thing I will say, if you're going to do toy photography, don't ever have direct light right on the figure. You want your light to come from the side. Because if you light them directly, it's going to drown it out with white light, and you're not going to be able to see them very well. So when you light them, you want your lights to come from the sides and kind of light them that way.
Oh, awesome. See, and this is why we got you on, to get all those tips like that.
Yeah,
This is all stuff.
I kind of figured that out doing because when I keep track of my diecast stuff, Andrew's made me a website where I do that, and I upload a photo of each car that I add to it, and notice when I started doing that, the more I did it, if you would do it from the side, it took a lot better picture than straight on. Yeah,
I noticed that over time too, just by doing photos. I'm like, man, why is he so drawn out? And then you try to get the light less and less bright, and you're like, okay, well now I can't light this thing. And then all of a sudden I just pushed a light to the side. I'm like, okay, I can see him way better now. It's crazy how lighting, and there's this thing called 3-point lighting, and it's all about having 3 lights, and one of them's a key light, one of them's a fill light, and then I think one of them's kind of like, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a side light. And so I tried to mimic that. A lot of what I've learned, I've just learning through YouTube, just, playing a YouTube video on how do I light properly.
Yeah, I think Ed's writing down as quickly as he can. I was about to
say, Ed's writing everything down as quickly as he can as he's watching us, getting all this.
Well, Ed's a big supporter, man. Ed, if you ever have questions, you're more than welcome to DM me, man.
Heck yeah. All right, so we're going to jump in. This next one that I've got is another crossover. This is another one like the Snake Eyes one, that where you've got somebody that's hovering on this one. So you've got Mikey on a skateboard. He's got the almanac. Luckily, they got that away from Biff. And then Mikey also on the hoverboard with the paper underneath him. I like how you showed the paper that is underneath him. Like I can tell that it's up underneath that, but obviously, he's on a little stand that keeps it from going. So
that's part of the reason why I put the paper there, is because they're that Marty McFly figure is from NECA as well. And they have like a plastic stand that you can prop him on. That's what I've got him sitting on, but you still have to kind of edit it out. So I was trying to hide it a little bit more by putting that newspaper in front of it.
And I said Mikey, I totally meant Marty. I'm not an idiot, I promise people.
I knew what you meant.
A tech deck also?
Yeah, you got it. That's funny. You picked that up. Yeah, Mikey's on a tech deck. So it's one of those things where, you go to a store and you're like, okay, I can use that tech deck for something else, not just,
my son has like, I don't know how many he's got of those, 30, 40 of them already. So, and he does all the stuff with them. So
they're perfect size for 6-inch figures. They almost scale like perfectly for them. So I wanted to try to do something that used, I think I captioned this with Turtles in Time. And it was, Yeah, I wanted to get something where it was Mikey helping Marty get the almanac back from Biff, and it was just a really fun one to do. This was a lot of fun for me because I'm a huge Back to the Future fan as well. That's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, so is Michael. All right,
we were raised on those.
out of those kind of universes into this one surprised me because I was like, I didn't realize Popeye figures were even.
Yeah, Popeye and Brutus.
So having these two, like, these are just amazing because Brutus looks like he's a huge figure. Popeye's got all the right details, and then you've got this wrench, which probably came with Brutus. I'd hope so. Like, I don't know. Other than that may be a real wrench. I don't know.
Yeah, that's actually Bluto, Popeye and Bluto.
Bluto.
Yeah, Bluto is always the bad guy, beating up Popeye. And Mezco, actually, Mezco Toys, that's that 112 collective line. They actually made a 2-pack of these guys together that I picked up. And yeah, it comes with that wrench. And so I want to do a shot of Popeye getting the better of Bluto in this one because Popeye's the good guy. He always wins, even though Bluto kicks the shit out of him every once in a while.
I like these figures because they look more human than cartoonish. So I do like these figures. Yeah,
that's one thing I love about the Mezco figures. There are like crazy realistic for being a 6-inch figure. I mean, you're talking about something that's pretty small, and the amazing detail they're able to get in the head sculpts and just the figures themselves. It's pretty incredible. So it's a really, really amazing line of figures. But yeah, this was another really fun one to do. And I think I had done something with Hulk and Thanos in a similar pose. So I just kind of stole from that idea and tried to recreate it here with these two.
I like you've got the broken rocks that are coming around them and like the details. And I think we're about to talk about the smoke stuff that's behind it. I think that's in the next photo that I've got to kind of talk about that. But even this one, like, you get the detail. You can tell that they're wearing real clothes. Like, they're not just it's fabric. It's not just like on the figure. So
yeah, that's
like
one thing that's really impressive about those figures. They come with tailored clothing, and it's crazy. The amount of detail that are involved in those figures.
I mean, that's pretty good because I don't even have tailored clothing. So,
me either. None of my stuff's tailored.
So I thought this was a different one, but we're going to jump into and this is Gomez, correct?
Yes.
And this is Mezco's mascot.
Yep, you got it.
Okay, because I know you guys talk about him on STS, and there's a bingo card about this about you getting a Gomez figure or something. But I had no idea who he was until I started hearing about or listening to you guys and stuff. So this one kind of got me off guard. I like you're using the hoverboard here. He's kind of just having fun skating. He's got his boombox in the background. And is that a Spider-Man, like mega, one of those things in the background?
Oh, that little guy?
Yeah.
They're actually for these right here. So
okay, they're the small ones. Okay.
Yeah, Mezco used to throw these into their figures. So they would throw just one of these into the package. And they had this photo contest on Mondays that if you post a photo and you have one of these in the background or in the shot somewhere, you're eligible to win a giveaway for that week.
Oh, well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so every once in a while, I'll just throw one into a shot to try to up my chances of winning. But yeah, this figure, his name is Gomez, and he is Mezco's mascot, which they've created their own IP, just the whole big world of figures that they add into this line, and they keep on expanding it. And it's really cool. He comes with that hoverboard. He's basically like a secret agent, like a 007 type character. He's a cockroach, and it's just it's fun, just to have that original, unique idea of something that you they don't really have a big background, so you sort of just make your own world with them. You're like, okay, I'm gonna have him riding through the city on his hoverboard or something. I don't know.
I will say I don't like cockroaches. I don't know anybody that does, but this would be one that I would be okay with having in my house. So
he's the only cockroach that you want in your house.
Right. Here's another, it's obviously Christmas with the turtles. I like how you've added Splinter into this one. Obviously having a family Christmas there. Donatello's got the ooze. And this is one of the first ones that I didn't notice. There's not a rat. Well, there is a rat in this one, but not the little rat. So
there is a rat. I always have a rat at least in one shot.
Is that your thing? Like, there's always a pineapple, and that there's always a rat in the shot somewhere.
I get it. I don't know why I use those rats so much, but I just think it's fun to kind of like add some realism to it. Like, oh, there's a rat in the background.
Well, you're going to not use them for like 2 weeks now because we've mentioned it.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
Well, I think with the turtles and stuff, I mean, you're looking at New York and all that, and
True.
kind of every time you
Sewer
turn around,
area,
especially at night.
Yeah.
You
I
see
think
them.
it definitely
a lot of
is, pretty awesome.
A lot of the scenes I create are in like an alleyway or in some type of street scene. So I'm like, okay, a rat just fits too well there. So I always try to use them when I can.
Yeah, Peking got it in our chat there. Shout out to Psych for the pineapple. That is where I got it.
Yep.
There's a pineapple in every episode of Psych.
Nice.
This photo is awesome. You've got them playing a small video game. They're getting hats. You've got the milk crates, the small milk crates that are, I got a couple of those around here that are, it's perfect, like perfect sizing for these. So this is a great shot.
That's another, the guy that I mentioned earlier, Prime to the First. He makes those milk crates and those, you can see the wood crates kind of behind them on the sides. He makes those too.
And are those 3D printed?
They are.
Okay.
Yeah, they're 3D printed and then he paints them. Just something I would never be able to do, but it's just crazy detail. And there's such great props. I love using, props, as you guys can tell.
Here we go. Our rat friend is back.
Yeah.
It's funny you guys chose almost every shot has a rat in it. I'm like, man, I use this rat too much.
No, not at all. So this one has a lot of little Easter eggs to me in it. Obviously, it's got the Batman, the vintage Batman '89 game. It's got the Watchmen comic book down here. You've got a Batman comic book, a couple other comic books back there. You've got Turtles on in the background.
Yeah, you see Shredder on the TV.
Yeah, you got it on. You got the cartoon on the TV.
Then you have this small figure, this Michelangelo figure. That is an amazing little figure.
Yeah, they're from a company called World's Smallest.
That's what I was about to say. It looks like the world's smallest ones. Yeah.
Yeah, you can get them on Amazon, and they make miniature figures, and they have actually all 4 turtles that you can get from them. It's pretty cool.
Something more for Andrew to get.
I've got a couple of the Hot Wheel world's smallest Hot Wheels.
I was going to say that I was just going to recommend they have the Hot Wheels too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this one I like it. So I assume you're using another one of those stands here to hold Superboy.
Yep,
that is his name. Hold him up because he's obviously not on the chair like Dick Grayson is here on the chair. So where did you get the inspiration for this shot? Because I believe this is out of a comic book, is it not?
Yeah, so there's
a similar shot like this.
Yeah, there's something similar where they're playing a game, and I was thinking like these 2 figures, they're the DC icons. Super Sons is what they're called, and there's actually a comic, and a lot of the times those 2 are just kind of hanging out, playing a game, just shooting the shit, doing something fun together, not like superhero related. So I wanted to try to get something where it's just them being casual. They're having a sleepover. They're watching TMNT. They're playing some arcades. They're reading comics. Just stuff that I would want to do if I was hanging out with my friends. But that cabinet is actually from the same guy, Prime to the First again. He made that Batman cabinet.
We're gonna have to have Prime to the First on to just give you a bunch of shout outs.
That guy is amazing.
So I like to call myself out for getting things wrong. This is not Dick Grayson. This is Damian, is it not?
You got it. Yep,
yeah,
Damian.
There we go. And we're talking about the Batman Damian, the cool one, not the Geek Together Damian. Here we go. Here's the other Mezco Gomez with your 2 figures here also. So these the shots are just amazing.
Thank you so much.
I don't even know
I really
what to say
appreciate
about
that.
this one. It's just freaking amazing shots. So
well, thank you. This one I started experimenting with how to add rain into a shot. You can kind of see I didn't get it quite right, but you can kind of see some rain effects in there.
Yeah.
So I used a spray bottle and just kind of sprayed it as I'm taking the shot and using like a slower shutter speed to try to capture the droplets a little bit better.
That's pretty awesome. But, I mean, how many people are you going to think about that are going to spray their toys?
I know.
Water,
It was like as soon as I did it, I got a paper towel and started patting down. Like, oh God, you're okay.
Oh, this is the one that I was thinking about earlier that we were talking about the smoke. So this, I don't know who this is at all. It just
if you guys are into anime, My Hero Academia, which is on Hulu, is an amazing anime show.
I was gonna say either My Hero Academia or Yu-Gi-Oh, and I wasn't. I was like, I'll get it eventually. So
Yeah, so this is his name's Deku. He's a character from that show, and he's got this power called All for One. He powers up his whole body and kind of just releases the energy out. And so this is him doing a kick using that power. So I wanted to try to like really accentuate him and his colors. And then those smoke effects that you were going to ask me about, they're from a guy called @Navi_TB on Instagram. He actually makes those at home, and he sells them.
what are they made out of?
I think they are made out of some type of glue or some epoxy or something. I don't know what he does, but I think he has like some type of cutout, and he just fills it and then cooks it in the oven to make it solid or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty awesome because they're just flat and they're easy to move around. You can put them in backgrounds. And,
I've been addicted to them lately.
I noticed you in the foreground too, where it's kind of fuzzy. You can see the smoke up close, and then the smoke in the back, and then it's all focused on the figure in the middle. So, yeah.
It's funny that you caught that. I try to put one like in the front just to make it look like there is some smoke there, and he's kind of in the middle of something, so it's not just all behind him. It's some in the front too.
So that's the last like actual photo that I've got to show to like talk about. But we do have. I want to show this video. It's going to be a little, hopefully easy to see because I'm just going to pull it directly off of your Instagram. So let me share this because this is kind of another behind the scenes how things are done. So
I've been trying to do these more lately because a lot of people will DM me and just say, "How did you do that? Like, what did you do to make that shot?"
And of course, it pops in right in the middle. So here's at the beginning of it right here. You're showing where you're getting the shot and then kind of just like the background of everything. So you can see where the smoke is set up on things. So you can get better shots of that. Your lighting, and then the background there. So.
Yeah, there's guys that do this way better than me. But I'm at least trying to give, because a lot of people think these setups are so intricate, but you can see I'm doing it on the floor of my office, and it's a fairly small shooting area. Right. It's just like you really have to focus on the thing I usually do is I'll place a figure in the shot and then I'll look at it through the camera to see, okay, what else can I see? And then I'm trying to just fill in the empty spots so that I can, add some detail to it. But the shooting area is really pretty small, and then you just have to get your lights pretty close. It doesn't have to be this huge elaborate setup, but you're trying to make it look like that so you can add some depth to it and some realism.
Yeah, so here's the after shot, which is like I said, you show this and you kind of show a little video of how it's done, and then like this being just a good shot to be able to get a good view of all that. Like, I don't know, I couldn't come up with ideas to do this. I have some a few figures, the Motu figures, and I don't think I could come up with the ideas to do these. So
you'd be surprised. I mean, that is one of the hardest things though, is the creativity. How do I, without stealing someone's idea, because I try not to like, oh, I see that shot, let me try to do it myself.
Yeah,
that's okay to do as long as you're giving credit to the guy. But I'm also trying to do something that's more unique and something that's new. But that is definitely, I will say, probably the hardest thing is figuring out new ideas and what am I going to do? How am I going to put these figures together? What scene am I going to create? And that's why I rely on Batman so much with a lot of my shots. You see him pop up so many times because he's always the one that comes to my mind of, oh, there's Batman at a crime scene. Here's Batman on a rooftop. Here's Batman beating the crap out of Joker or something,
Batman will beat the crap out of anybody.
Yeah. He loves a good fight.
Put him in the right place. He's good for that.
Yeah. But a lot of what I do is like, if I see an idea, I'll either try to write it down or I'll immediately run to my office and try to set it up so at least I can get the idea out there, out of my head and onto the screen. And a lot of it was also reading comics, watching animated films. Like, I don't know if you guys have HBO Max subscriptions, but they have a huge catalog of DC animated films, and they're all pretty good.
Yeah. I've gone through watching a bunch of the Batman ones that I missed because I, like you, went through a high school phase where I was too cool to actually have toys and watch some of this stuff. But then decided to go back to my childhood after getting married. And, now I'm rewatching some stuff that I missed, like the Batman animated series that was on in the early 2000s. I never watched any of it. Now I just saw that they added it to HBO Max.
Yeah,
And
they have the whole series on there. It's amazing.
So it's gonna be great. Like,
Uh,
I can't wait.
let's talk about timing. How long do you take on some of these shots? I mean, I know they're not small. Hey, I'll do this in 5 minutes most of the time, but what's the longest you've taken setting one up?
Oh man, I would say there's some shots that I have revisited a few times, so maybe all in all, like 3 or 4 hours. But that is rare that it takes that long. That's stuff that's like action shots are probably the hardest ones to do, where you're trying to sell action, you're trying to get the posing right. You're trying to get them in that floating pose. So it just takes a lot of time to get the lighting right and the posing right. Sometimes though you get lucky and that static poses, the ones where they're just standing up, those are actually a little bit easier because I can just place them down, put the lights up, set the shot and do some small editing. But I would say on average, roughly 45 minutes to an hour to get a shot.
Oh, it's not too bad.
Not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad.
Well, I know we are up against a hard deadline. I actually have a few things. I got to go watch an Avalanche game here pretty soon. And we've got the Average Nerd is about to start a chess tournament that we're going to try to raid into if we can. But real quick, before we get into that, what is your shout outs? Like, where can people find you to follow you and stuff like that?
Yeah, if you guys want to see my toy photography, you can find me on Instagram at figurefan_Nate. That's primarily where I'm at. I'm not really on Facebook, but I do post on TikTok from time to time, but I'm not a huge fan of TikTok. That's usually where I put my BTS videos, but you guys can always find me at Instagram, figurefan_Nate. And then I am a part of the STS Guys podcast. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. And that's when I get together with my buddies and we just kind of talk all things pop culture. And I insert my DC love in there every once in a while.
Of course, you've got to. And John, I'm going to put you on the spot. Where can people find us, including the fact that the STS Guys and Nate were on with us last night about our podcast that's dropping this Thursday?
Right. So check us out on Instagram and Twitter at Toy Rewind Pod. You've got our website, toyrewindpodcast.com. I said that a little too quick. Sorry. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitch, Toy Rewind Pod. Then you've got our, YouTube.
YouTube,
the other one. So yeah, I was
he'll get through it.
Yeah, I'll get through it. And then you can email us at toyrewindpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and we are the Brothers Newland from Toy Rewind. And obviously we've got this connection going on with Geek Together to do more content, get some stuff out there. We drop that weekly podcast about toys, vintage or retro toys. We recorded just yesterday with the STS Guys about the 12-inch G.I. Joe line. That episode drops Thursday and is a pretty good episode, if you ask me. I listened to it again today as I was editing it to go through it. And we lots of details, lots to talk about the articulation and stuff like that. So be sure you check that out. We will be here every Monday with somebody, a collector, to showcase their collection or their stuff about their collection. Next week, we're doing a little different. We're jumping from toys to video games. We've got somebody coming on to talk about their video game collection with Nintendo, some Sony, and some different things like that. So be sure to check that out. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is just my new thing. I don't do time zones, so it's 8 p.m. Central. I believe that's 6 p.m. Pacific time. But I don't do time zones. So if you're going to watch it, figure it out. Yeah.
It's really going to screw you up, Andrew. On March 15th, it all changes again.
It's all going to change again. I don't know what I'm going to do. So, we'll be here at some point in the future, and I'll be. And, I want to do a quick shout out to Geek Together for letting us come on and do this. We get to, kind of leech on their followers and kind of give them some content here. And kind of plug our stuff a little bit. So thanks to Geek Together for letting us do this and keep this going. So
thanks to everybody in the chat too.
Thanks to the chat. We didn't do a shout out to the chat. I guess we should do that. I don't know. We'll get this worked out in the next few weeks. I'm waiting to see.
And thanks to Nate, of course.
Yeah, hey,
Yeah,
thanks to you guys for having me. I'm honored to be the first one on your collector showcase.
Yep.
And I agree. Thanks to the chat for all the kind words, all the support. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, so much stuff. I know there's a lot of people said they were writing stuff down. Ed and Larry was just trying to get stuff. So yeah, and great information, especially for all the different Funko Photo of the Day contests that they do. Like just
Right.
how to shoot. I mean, obviously with those you don't have a lot of the articulation, but the ideas still work. And so, yeah. Sorry,
I've seen
over here
some
trying to
amazing
figure out-
Funko Pop shots. There's a lot of guys that I know in the community that only shoot Funko, and they take some incredible photos. So it's definitely, and I know Ed has posted some. I've seen a lot of Ed shots. He does really good. Larry, Nerd and Cheese, he posts a lot too. And I'm sure there's other guys that in the chat that post. But yeah, I mean, you don't need an articulated figure. You just, if you want to take a shot, go out there and do it. You'd be surprised with what you can come up with.
Okay, so we are actually going to raid over to the Dorksman, Agent Tony Stark. He's doing some Call of Duty action, so I got to figure out what's going on with Average Nerd. But we're going to go ahead and raid over to them. So I don't know how long this is going to take. I'm just hitting buttons over here. Like I said, I have powers that I've never known before, and I don't know if it's going to start. Come on,
You have all the power.
yeah. Damien's going to be like, maybe we should get somebody else to do this next week because it's not one to do it.
Not at all. I know Larry. He's a rating nerd. I wish I could give you some tips.
Well, I
What's
clicked
the
the raid
hashtag?
button.
What's the
I don't know.
hashtag?
What is it?
Toy
Rewind raid or something?
Yeah, there you go. It's maybe Geek Together raid or Toy Rewind
Yeah.
raid.
Oh, maybe it's Geek Together. Yeah.
Geek Together raid. We'll do that.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
I'm slick. I'm pushing the start raid button. It's not doing anything. I don't know. I'm not doing it right.
Are they live yet? It might be that they need to go live.
Oh no. Well, he's been on for a while. So, well, maybe he's on.
Oh,
now.
okay.
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Well, just keep talking about something. I'll figure this out. Not to put you on the spot or anything.
Yeah.
Come on, Michael. You like to talk, Michael.
Michael, tell us about that new
Yeah.
Hot Wheel you got.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, the newest thing I do have is the Auto World. This is the chase piece. It's the Ultra Red, is what they're called. This one is a racing legend from One Stop Diecast. I buy several things from him, and it's a pretty cool little piece. So
It's not working.
There's 104 pieces. So
Nice.
So
Very limited.
yeah.
I gotta tell you guys, it's not working. So we're gonna just
It
call
works.
it at this point, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks, everybody.
Lay on.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
See ya.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.